Hello, YouTube. It's me again with a funny, I don't know what's going on back there. I'm waiting for something to load at work here. I just really don't know what's happening. So I did a 37-week video update and I took it down. I don't know. So I'm going to real quick go over some stuff. I had my doctor's appointment today. Here's the bump date. Yeah, you didn't see. That was like, whoom. Anyway, yeah. Can you see how much I've dropped? Every time I think she's dropped as much as she can, she finds new areas to go lower. I did another video also. It was in regards to kind of like an episode type thing that I had last Thursday. And I don't know, it's just been a wild and crazy ride here lately. Like I think I'm in the prodromal phase of labor. Some people often call it false labor. That's fine, to each their own, but I personally don't like to call it false labor because while I know it's not labor, false labor makes me feel like we're not progressing anywhere, and I know we are. So to me, I'm like, it's the prodromal phase of labor. It just means your body's getting ready. And so I've just been having lots of symptoms. Without making the video as long as my last one was, there's been a lot going on for like my family. If you've been following along with the videos and things, not in relation to my pregnancy, but in correlation with my pregnancy, there's been a lot of stuff going on with my grandma. And so officially, they actually, like, I just got a call from my mom a while ago. So Saturday we moved my grandma, so that was like this big epic thing, and a lot of my family was involved, and it did affect me and my pregnancy in some aspects. I'll get into that in a little bit. But then also they signed, like, everything's official, everything's turned in. My grandma's new house is her house. Like, you know, her old house has sold. It's a very emotional thing, and if I think about it too much, I'll bawl my eyes out because I'm very close with my grandma. I've spent a lot of time at her house. But ultimately, I've had this perspective, and I could go into it more, but to me, my grandma now her needs are different than they used to be, and the house that she has now is much more accommodating for her, and that's what I care about. I care about her health, her safety, her well-being, like all that kind of stuff. So while I'm very emotional about her selling her house, I'm so grateful and I'm so relieved. Anyway, that's just like a little segment out of the video, but like, this thing has been trying to update for like 20 minutes. I do not know what's going on. So, okay. Anyway, I guess I'm gonna keep waiting because I know it can take a while, but wow. So symptom-wise, I'm just gonna lump everything in and talk about in relation to my chair is hung up on my labor ball, and I'll get into that too. I've been sitting on the labor ball and just trying to get her in or keep her in like the proper like birthing position, you know, things like that. But anyway, so I am in my video that's labeled labor symptoms or something like that. You know, that's probably not the correct title, but I really didn't know what to call that video. It was just a really strange thing I wanted to talk about that happened that day. Then after that day, Friday, I ended up taking it pretty easy as well. I had another like time where it just felt like somebody pulled my plug. I was just really tired again. And then Saturday was when my grandma was moved. My husband and I just joined at the new house. We actually took our hospital bags with us. That's how convinced we were that like I could go into labor at any moment. And I felt that way too. Sunday I felt slightly less that way, but I had really been feeling it. So a point that I had made in the video that I took down that's really exciting is every day now is like a new part of pregnancy, a new time in pregnancy that I've never been a part of. I have never made it this far in pregnancy. it is so cool, and I'm so like grateful that I'm making it a little bit longer. Um, today is my last day to get an August baby. Not that it matters because my due date is September 19th, but my daughter's birthday is also in September. So and my birthday's in August, but I kind of really wanted her to have her own, like, I don't know. But either way, like, I kind of sound like I'm all over the place, but I'm kind of trying to tie what I talked about in like the last video in with this was just going to be a short little thing because, you know, it is my 37-week update, I guess. Even though I've already done it, you may or may not have seen it. But today I went to the doctor, so I'm gonna come back and just like real quick go over the symptoms. So, in terms of symptoms, they're all over the place. There's nothing consistent. It's very frustrating, and it is taxing my mind, body, and like my emotions as well. I feel like it's really strange because with my daughter, you know, I knew I wasn't feeling great, and I knew I had some weird feelings like leading up to the birth of my daughter, but it was literally just like a couple of days. You know what I mean? Nothing really crazy like the cramps and stuff that I have now. I didn't have any of that with her. And then I just like bam, went into labor, we went to the hospital, and then that got chaotic. But that was what it was. Where with this one, and I know all pregnancies are different. You know, it doesn't really matter. All pregnancies are different, but you know, also I know an article that I read stated basically that, you know, prodromal labor can really hit in second pregnancies and, you know, things like that. And it really does mess with you because, and my doctor was getting tickled about it today because he had even warned me. He goes, a lot of women who go early and then make it later in their second pregnancy or in the next pregnancy, whatever, it plays on them a little bit because in their mind they're overdue. And I said, you know, I'm like, as today I was like, it's not that I necessarily feel overdue, but with the symptoms that I'm experiencing that I didn't with my daughter, it does make me question my sanity. And everybody is like, what's going on? And I said, I'm trying to keep everybody up on what's happening, and you know, just like my family, whatever, the people that are close in my circle, because like my mom and my husband will go to the hospital with me, and then my mother-in-law will stay back and she'll have my daughter. And so everybody's work schedules have to correlate with that. Like it all has to kind of work, you know? And so they're all curious. They're all want to know. And I want to be as honest and forefront as I can. And it makes me feel like a little bit nuts because I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I just know that there's a lot of symptoms and I don't know. So for instance, major fatigue. Now yesterday I had this like random bout of energy. I wouldn't call it a burst because it's not like I had this like insane amount of energy, but it was this random bout of energy where I felt a little bit more myself and I felt like I could actually accomplish some things. And so while I had that energy, I capitalized on it. And I thought, you know, I don't know what in the world's going to happen, but I have this now. And I started tapering off towards the evening. And like I was telling my husband today, I wondered at that point if it would go away or if it would come back today. And I can say that it has gone away. I don't know if that was my little short version of nesting. I don't know. I never nested with my daughter. I never reached that point. But yesterday for about 5 or 6 hours, I was like, wow, like I feel like I have some stamina. I feel like I could get some things done, you know? And so I did. But today, not at all. It doesn't help, honestly, that I don't think anyone in my little family here got any sleep last night. We were all up a lot, like a lot. And for what, I don't know. So anyway, so the fatigue, pain in the back, again, it's like my lower middle back area, you know, pain in the back. I have that, very frequent urination. Like it's getting to the point of being like really frequent. It's not quite as bad. It's not quite as bad as it got whenever I went into labor with my daughter, but it's frequent. Of course, I have heartburn. I guess I'm never not going to have heartburn the entire time I'm in this pregnancy. I'm just have heartburn. Nausea. I have a lot of nausea, which is kind of frustrating, but it is what it is. And then I have like different types of cramps. And I find that really strange, but it is true. I have these different types of cramps. And so I have like in my lower belly, it feels very, very heavy down there all the time. And then I have the cramp where like I wait too long to go to the bathroom, or I'm sitting here and it doesn't hit me, but I go to stand up and it's like, oh my gosh, I need to go to the bathroom. And it hurts in my lower belly, and I have to stay like leaning over like as if I was sitting till I get to the bathroom, and I go to the bathroom, and then it relieves that pressure, I guess, then off the uterus or whatever. But that's something that I have, and then I usually have a cramp like afterwards. And then I have kind of like the tightening of the belly, and sometimes I think it's either me having some form of a contraction, which I've had a couple of contractions and I felt them and I knew what they were, but the other one is like either some form of contraction or it's her balling up and creating a lot of pressure and pain in the lower belly and then in like the front of the belly and everything. It's just that's painful. And then I've had this off and on, but I even had it one morning for like, I don't even know, like 3-4 hours, something like that. Just like very intense, almost period-like cramps in my lower belly. And so I just have a lot of weird things that just, it almost feels like they're on this rotation, you know, and it just, I don't know. And if I'm having any other symptoms right now, like it's not, I'm not thinking of it, but it just feels like I'm on this like roller coaster of symptoms, but I'm not actually going into labor. And a couple of those cramps, it's very frustrating because it feels like at any time, it feels like I'm having this cramp and then it's going to go into contractions and I'm waiting for that. But then that never happened, you know, so far. It never happens. It either gets worse before it gets better or it just starts dialing down and it goes away. Either way, it goes away and then I'm left like, okay, so now am I going to wake up in the middle of the night and, you know, in labor? And then it hasn't happened yet. So that's just like this conglomeration or whatever of symptoms that I'm having and kind of what I'm dealing with. And while none of it's a big deal, we've been preparing this whole time for me to go early and anticipating that. And I know that that's probably not the smartest thing because you also need to be prepared to go longer. But particularly after last Thursday's events, there's been a couple of times where we were like convinced that I'm not going to make it to moving day. My grandma's moving day. I'm not going to make it to moving day. That's going to be terrible. My mom's going to feel torn. Oh no. And then and I try not to add extra stress to the baby. And I feel like in this pregnancy, I've done fairly well at that. I've had to fend off a lot of things and I keep getting accused of having like a pregnancy attitude. And believe me, that's not what I'm trying to have, but I don't know if it's me just trying to like ward off emotions or I don't know what it is, but I'm really trying to protect this baby from stress, and it's very, very difficult because by nature, as a person, default, I just stress out. And especially when it comes to like me inconveniencing other people or people, I just, anything like that. Like when it comes, especially to like the people that I love or whatever, I'm like, oh my gosh, or, you know, I don't know. I just do. And so like, I was thinking like, I've got to make it to moving day. I've just got to make it to moving day. And then making it to closing day wasn't as big of a deal, but my mom was going to be like there and a part of all that too. And I was just like, I've got to make it to closing day. I've got to make it to closing day. But then I kind of felt like I didn't want to make it to closing day also. It was really weird. At this point, I'm just rambling, but I'm just saying like it's been this roller coaster of emotions, and like when's it going to happen? And it feels like it could happen at any minute. And like, as I said earlier, I thought, okay, I've dropped all the way. Now I'm just waiting for her, because Saturday, after everyone had left and it was just like me and my husband, my parents, my grandma there, I was standing there, we were talking, you know, and I felt like a lot of tremendous pressure hit all at one time. And it was, you know, very, very low, very, very low. And I thought, okay, she's gotten in the birth canal. I've got to get home. I've got to sit down. I've got to put my feet up. This is like a lot of pressure. And so anyway, that's what I did. And I've had that feeling off and on too, since then. But especially when that happened, I was like, that's gonna happen, you know. And it hasn't. So I rolled over to 37 weeks. It was epic, totally crazy. And then, that was Monday, and then this is Wednesday, and this was when my doctor's appointment was going to be. And I thought, I don't know what to make of what the doctor's appointment is going to actually be, because as I talked about in the labor symptom video, I talked about like my last doctor's appointment and stuff. I got my group B test, and he checked me, and I was dilated to a 1, which essentially means like nothing, but it means something. It means progress, but you can be at a 1 for a while, you know. So today we went to the doctor, my husband and I went. Everything was good, normal, regular, whatever, heartbeat, super strong. Everything was great. They were asking me if I wanted to be checked today. And they were leaving it completely up to me. I think, they made it sound like it's not really, they don't really care. They can check you, but they don't really do that until like 39 weeks. It's like you are checked no matter what. So I thought about it. I went back and forth because, as I mentioned in that video, like, it's very painful for me to get checked. And last week it was extremely painful, and this week I was like back and forth about it. My husband was even like, hey, if it's that painful for you to get checked, there's no real point in getting checked. I mean, we know you're at least a 1. We know you're going to be progressing from there. We just don't know when, like that kind of thing. And it all makes sense. Like, as I said before, I was never like a huge advocate for getting checked, you know, until absolutely necessary. But I just decided last week to go ahead and get checked. And then today I was like, as much as happened in my life since the last doctor's appointment, and as many symptoms as I'm enduring, it would be nice to know if I've progressed any more. Does that make sense? Like, it doesn't really matter, but in a way, I feel like I was feeling like it would make me feel better if we've seen some progress from last week to this week, you know? So I went ahead and told him, yes, you know, like, if you want to go ahead and check me, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, so he did, and I noticed that it was still painful to get checked, but it wasn't as painful to get checked. And right away I thought, something has changed. Something has definitely changed, because it hurts. It still hurts. Like, you know, people would probably say, well, you were just so prepared for it to hurt so bad, you know. And it's like, no, I remember I remember the pain. And so I was like, whenever he was checking me, I thought, okay, ow, super ow still, but definitely not the same. And so after he checked me, he let me know that I'm still a 1, but I am thinning out. I don't know at what degree of effaced I really am, but he let me know that I'm thinning out. And so at that point I was like, okay, that makes sense. And a little backstory that might be a little bit TMI. I mean, I don't know. But whenever I was getting ready to have my daughter, essentially my husband was, again, I was 36 weeks pregnant. My husband was getting ready to go out for a job. He could drive to it. It was about 5 hours away. And so that's why he didn't turn it down, because we were only at 36 weeks, and like that worked, you know. So, but we both had a feeling like I would be going into labor. Like, I just didn't feel right. I didn't have all the symptoms that I'm experiencing now, but something was just not right, and I was just uncomfortable. So we went to labor and delivery triage. It was on a Wednesday. We went into labor and delivery triage. At that point, I was checked, and then a bunch of tests and stuff were ran, and it was all a bunch of hogwash anyway. But at that point, I was dilated to a 1 and 0% effaced. I had thinned out, not at all. And so then that's where I was at then. And then my mom and my husband left. He dropped me off at my mom's and he left for his job. And I just was going to stay with my mom while I felt the way that I felt. And sure enough, I started labor at midnight, like that night, whatever, Thursday morning, whatever you want to call it. We were going into the hospital at 4 a.m. the next morning, that Thursday morning. And when I got there, I was still only dilated to a 1, but I was 100% effaced. So, I don't know how this one's going to play out. I can't really go one off the other, but the fact that I am effacing now it's trending with that. It's like, I'm not necessarily completing my dilation and my effacing at the same time. I'm effacing quicker than I'm dilating. And I have no idea because they stopped my labor with my daughter and then I just started it on my own again the next morning. But I have no idea how I complete. I have no idea how that dilation works. I really don't want to be put on Pitocin. I really, really don't. And so to me personally, I'm feeling, okay, how is this going to play out? What's this going to look like? At what point will I go into labor this time? Will it be, I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. I mean, I don't know how long I could essentially go at this point. My husband tried to ask my doctor, and he even said, he goes, I know you really can't tell me. I know you really can't, predict that or whatever, but out of curiosity, is there any, can you tell me anything of how long you think it could go? Based off what you're seeing now with checking her, do you think it'll be this week? Do you think it'll be next week? Do you think she'll go to her due date? And he was just like, I don't think she'll go to her due date. He said, I don't want to make you any false promises, but he kind of was acting like he thought I was going to go soon. But he wasn't going to say it because then that's we're going to hold him to it, and it's we're not. But he was just like, listen, I don't know. I can't really say for sure. Obviously, there's no science to it. All women are so different, and all pregnancies are even different. Look at this one compared to the last one, he said. But he's like, essentially, I truly don't believe she's going to get to her due date. He said, I think she'll go into labor, she'll come in here, and she'll do this on her own. Meaning, he doesn't think we have to talk about inducing, which would be fabulous. I don't want any part of that. So that's really the update. I mean, I'm still having all these symptoms and still just going through it, really, and I'm tired of it, if I'm being honest. We got through moving, we got through the sale, we got through moving, we got through closing, and now I'm just ready to have the baby, I guess. But thinking about going through that process makes me nervous. Starting the labor process and then getting to the hospital and just what all that looks like. It makes me nervous to think about it. I think it makes my husband a little bit nervous, but it also at the same time, you're like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's just going to happen. But I am to the point where it's now I just want to do it and kind of face that and go with it because I'm tired of the symptoms just dragging on. I mean, yes, I've given symptoms here every week, and yes, they are monotonous and frustrating, but it's all a part of pregnancy, and it's fine, and so is this, but this is just more intense, the weight in my lower belly, the weight or pressure or whatever, down lower, it just makes walking a lot less nice. It makes sitting a lot less nice. I mean, there is no getting comfortable in bed now, like at all. Actually, laying is quite painful. You're not supposed to lay on your back. You really shouldn't lay on your right side. You get on your left side. You know, I've got the pregnancy pillow and stuff, but it's so, I don't know, it's painful for some reason. And so I'm tired, and I think I'm ready, and, you know, I'm excited to meet my daughter. Excited to see what the new chapter brings, you know. And so it's just really wild and bizarre, but at the same time it's very exciting because, like I said, I never had a 37-week doctor appointment before, and then we made it today, midway through the week, and I'm at my 37-week appointment. So there's so many emotions and so many thoughts and feelings with it, but I'm just excited to be a part of the journey, I guess. But like right now, I'm having like a hot flash. I'm having a very unfortunate hot flash, and that's another symptom I've been having. I mean, there's just like a lot, and it's like, okay, let's get on with it now because I'm tired of all this. Anyway, if you'll excuse me, I'm well past the time of being off work, and this is not loading. I don't know what's going on with my computer. I have no idea. So I am going to let you go. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Whatever next time brings, I'm not really sure, but we'll see you then. Bye.